Hello friends and welcome to this video in Authentic English. And today I'm going to discuss with you the poem known as The Heart of the Tree, written by Cuyler Bunner. So before we begin with the poem, I request you to subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so, and also hit the bell icon next to it so that you're notified about all the new videos I upload to this channel. So The Heart of the Tree is a poem written by the American author Cuyler Bunner, first published in 1912. Okay, so this poem is by an American author who is known as Cuyler Bunner, and it was first published in 1912. Okay, so this poem, let's first discuss the title of the poem, Heart of the Tree. Okay, this poem is definitely going to be about the tree. But when we talk about the heart of the tree, okay, there can be numerous, ways to interpret this title. This poem essentially talks about, the importance of planting trees. Okay, in this poem, the poet talks about the noble act of planting a tree. We all know that planting trees is extremely important for the environment. Okay, trees give us oxygen. Trees make the environment look beautiful. They bring rainfall. So trees are extremely important. They also help in reducing pollution. Okay, so this poem is all about the noble act of planting a tree. So in the poem, the act of planting a tree is not shown to be something very ordinary, but an act which is very noble. Okay, so the main purpose of the poem is to highlight the fact that one who plants the tree is actually a very great person. Okay, because planting a tree is a noble act. All of us know that it's a great thing to plant trees, and in this poem, Henry discusses the various great benefits of planting trees and praises the person who does this noble act. Okay, so what happens is that in all the three stanzas that there are in this poem, the poet, discusses the various great benefits that we get from the trees. Okay, it discusses all the various aspects and the benefits that the trees give to us, and then eventually praises the person, okay, who is planting the trees. Because if trees are so beneficial for the human race, the person who plants those trees is going to be noble as well. So this poem is all about praising the person who plants trees, because trees give us numerous benefits. Okay, numerous benefits. So all those benefits are first counted in the stanzas of the poem, and then the man who has planted the tree is thanked. So it encourages all of us to plant more and more trees. Afforestation is extremely important, and especially in the present scenario, we are living in the 21st century. Okay, we are becoming more and more modern, and to make space for our malls, for our hotels, for our restaurants, we are cutting down all the trees. So it is very important, in this age especially, to plant more and more trees. Although this was written almost a century ago, this poem holds even more importance today, because as we are, developing, we need to plant more and more trees. Okay, so this is what the poem is all about. So I hope you have an idea. All stanzas of the poem begin with a question about the kind of a person the man is who plants a tree. Okay, so all the stanzas of the poem begin with the same line. The same line that begins all the stanzas of the poem is known as a refrain. Okay, a refrain is a line that is repeated. Just like in a song, the refrain is the line which is repeated. Okay, so all stanzas of the poem begin with the same line. Okay, so this what does he plant? Who plants a tree? Okay, so this is what happens in the poem. So the question that the line asks is what kind of a person the person is who plants a tree. Okay, and then eventually it counts all the various great aspects that the trees give to us, and then tells us that the man who has planted the tree is a great person. Okay, so this is what is there in the poem, and the poet himself answers the question by mentioning the various benefits the trees give to us, thereby praising the man. And the rhyme scheme of the poem is kind of peculiar: ABA, BB, CC, AA. Okay, so this is what the poem is all about. I hope you have a clear idea now. So now let's begin with the stanza-wise explanation of the poem. Okay, what does he plant to plant a tree? Okay, so you can see the line. What does he plant to plant a tree? So what is the man who is planting a tree planting? Okay, so suppose there is a hypothetical man. He plants a tree. So this poem is all about that person. Okay, so what is he planting? But before we begin with the stanza-wise explanation, I have one more point to tell you. The heart of the tree can probably be a reference to the heart of the person who is planting the tree. That person has a great heart who is planting a tree. Okay, because trees are something that are very, very important for our environment. And in this poem, the act of planting a tree is not considered something ordinary, but something which is very extraordinary. Okay, what does he plant to plant a tree? He plants a friend of sun and sky. He plants the flag of breezes free, the shaft of beauty towering high. He plants a home to heaven and I. For song and mother croon of bird, in hushed and happy twilight heard, the treble of heaven's harmony, these things he plants who plants a tree. Okay, so first let's look at the word meanings of the poem. Anai means nearby, okay, and croon means a soft tune, hushed means quiet, and treble is a high pitched sound. Okay, so now let's kind of begin with the explanation of the poem. So the poem begins with the refrain. What does he plant to plant a tree? Okay, he plants a friend of sun and sky. So by planting a tree, he's planting a friend of the sun and the sky. Why is the tree the friend of the sun and the sky? The writer begins with the refrain and then talks about the various aspects of planting trees. Trees are a friend of the sky and the sun because they grow tall and seem to touch the sky. Okay, so the trees grow tall. It's like they're kind of reaching up to the sky to hug them. Okay, so they are tall. They provide shade from the harsh sun and also help bring rainfall. Okay, so also they make the sun seem bearable. Okay, they provide relief from the harsh sun rays in the summer days. Okay, so it's like the trees are the friend of the sun and the sky, and also they help in bringing rainfall. So they bring clouds in the sky. Okay, so the poet is counting the benefits of the trees. He plants the flag of breezes free. Okay, now the tree is compared to a flag. Okay, the tree grows tall, the stem of the tree grows tall. So the stem is like the shaft, and the various branches of the trees are like the banner of the flag. Okay, a tree is like a flag that falls when the air blows, and the tree grows up like a beautiful tall tower. So what the poet is saying is that when the air blows, the branches of the tree flutter like a flag. Okay, so the tree is compared to a flag. The stem of the tree is compared to the shaft or the pole of the flag, and the branches and the leaves are like the banner of the flag. And when the breeze blows, when the air blows, the tree moves just like a flag, falls just like a flag. The shaft of beauty towering high, and also these tall trees look very beautiful and they rise up just like a tower. He plants a home to heaven and I, for song and mother croon of bird. Okay, so now by planting a tree, he's planting a home near heaven. To heaven and I means near heaven, near the sky. Okay, so one who is planting a tree is planting a trees for the sweet singing birds near the sky. Okay, so all these last lines, he plants a home to heaven and I, for song and mother croon of bird, they have to be read in continuity. Okay, so they are not different lines, but lines which are following one after the other. Okay, so one who is planting a tree is planting a home to the various beautiful singing birds near the heaven. He plants a home to heaven and I, for song and mother croon of bird. Mother croon of bird means to the soft singing birds, to the birds who sing beautifully in hushed and happy twilight heard. And when it's evening, okay, we know that in the evening times birds are singing. Hushed means quiet. So when it's a quiet evening, on a quiet and happy evening, we can hear those birds chirping from their home on the trees. Okay, so we know that the birds live in the trees, and by planting a tree, one is giving them a home near the sky. And on a very quiet and on a very happy twilight, one can hear those birds sing their songs, the treble of heaven's harmony. Okay, and their songs are like the songs from heaven. Okay, the songs that are given out by the birds. Okay, they are compared to the songs, just songs coming from heaven. These things he plants to plants a tree. So these are the things that one who is planting a tree planting. By planting a tree, one plants a home near heaven for the sweet singing birds. In twilight, we can hear the birds chirping in their heavenly abode, that is from the tree where they live. Thus, these things are done by the person who plants a tree, and therefore planting a tree is not an ordinary thing to do, but a heavenly affair. So we realize that planting a tree is not just an ordinary thing. It's compared to something very heavenly. Okay. So now let's move on to stanza number 2. Okay. What does he plant to plant a tree? He plants cool shade and tender rain. Okay, so one who is planting a tree is planting a tree which is going to give shade and also bring about rain. We know that trees are helpful in giving shade to people when it's kind of hot, and also they are helpful in bringing rain. And seed on bud of days to be, and ears that fade and flush again. Okay, so the trees are going to give seeds and buds. Okay, the trees will produce seeds and buds through which it shall continue its lineage. Even after the tree dies, the seeds it had produced can give rise to a new tree. So if you plant one tree, it's going to, you know, keep itself alive by the production of seeds and buds. We know that trees produce seeds. Now these seeds fall on the ground and a new tree grows there. Okay, so one tree can give rise to so many trees. So this is what these two lines means. And ears that fade and flush again. So this tree will die in the ears, but then from the seeds of that tree, a new tree is going to come about in the years to follow. He plants the glory of the plain. He plants the forest's heritage. Okay, so one who is planting the trees, planting the glory of the plain. Okay, we all know that how beautiful trees make look the city. You must have seen where there are a lot of cities in your where there are a lot of trees in your city. Okay, that part of the city looks kind of very beautiful. Okay, so the trees, they make everything look beautiful. So they are kind of like the glory of the plain. Okay, trees beautify the place where they exist and make the plains look beautiful, thus adding to their glory. He plants the forest's heritage. A tree can turn into a forest, and this thus called its heritage, that its valuable property. Okay, so one tree can give rise to numerous other trees, and it can, kind of, spread into a forest, and that is why a tree is like a valuable inherited property of the forests. Okay, so trees are so important. You can see that in all these stanzas the importance of the trees is highlighted. So we are not just talking about the ordinary importance of trees that we read in our science classes, that they give oxygen, help bringing rainfall, and provide shelter, and all of that stuff. All of that is kind of discussed in a way, but there are other important things that are brought to light as well. Okay, so this is the poem all about. It's all about, glorifying the deed of planting the tree, and also glorifying the person who plants the tree. Okay, the joy that unborn I shall see, the harvest of a coming age, the joy of that unborn I shall see. Okay, so we see a lot of trees around us, so they were planted years ago. Okay, so one tree that is planted now is going to give joy and reap benefits to all the people who are going to be born in the future. Okay, so that's why it's going to bring joy to unborn eyes, and this is what is implied by these lines. These things he plants, who plants a tree. So this is all of this is planted by the person who is planting the trees. What does he plant who plants a tree? He plants in sap and leaf and wood, in love of home and loyalty, and Farkas thought of civic good, his blessings on the neighborhood, who in the hollow of his hands holds all the growth of all our land. A nation's growth from sea to sea stirs in his heart who plants a tree. And now we are on the last stanza of the poem. So first of all, let's look at the two word meanings that I think were important, and I have written them. Civic good is social responsibility or duty, something that you owe to the society, something that you should be doing for the society. And hollow here means the palm of the hand. Okay, so what does he plan to plant a tree? Again, that same refrain which was in the previous two stanzas. He plants in sap and leaf and wood, in love of home and loyalty. Okay, so what does he plant to plant a tree? He's planting in sap and leaf and wood. So these are all the constituents of the tree. Okay, so he plants in the form of sap, in the form of leaf, and in the form of wood, in love of home and loyalty. Okay, so by planting a tree, he's kind of, showing love to his home, that is to his earth, or to his country. Now home can have various aspects here, the home of the person. Okay, so one who is planting the tree is going to bring happiness to his home. For example, if he plants the tree nearby his home, the tree is going to give him fruits, shade, and also going to purify the air near his house. Also the home, if referred to the country, that's because one tree, just one tree can help make a difference. And also the earth, because he's going to be able to help the earth. And loyalty. Okay, so he's kind of like being loyal to the place where he's born. He's kind of making everything happy by planting a tree. And Farkas thought of civic good. Also, he is fulfilling his social responsibility. One who is planting a tree is fulfilling his social responsibility because he is doing something good for the society. Okay, his blessings on the neighborhood. Okay, so now he is also helping the neighborhood, because one tree is not going to benefit just the person who has planted it, but it benefits all the people nearby. Okay, so he's also going to bless his neighborhood, who in the hollow of his hand holds all the growth of all our land. Now in the palm of his hand, okay, the person who is planting the tree is, kind of holding all the growth of our land. okay, is holding the growth of his own country. Okay, so it's kind of implied that planting a tree is equivalent to doing something great for the nation. Okay, it's very important to understand that if you plant a lot of trees, you are actually doing welfare of your own country. You're going to make your country green, you're going to make its air fresh, and overall you're going to make all the people there happy. So this is what is implied. So planting a tree is definitely not an ordinary act. A nation's growth from sea to sea stirs in his heart who plants a tree. Okay, so one who is planting a tree is actually helping his nation grow from sea to sea, that is from one corner of the nation to the other. Okay, so one who is planting a tree is doing all of these tremendous jobs, and that is why he is worth the applauding. And now look at the last line, stirs in his heart who plants a tree. Now the word heart is again here, so it can be implied that the heart of the tree is actually the heart of the person who is planting the tree, and that heart is said to be very noble. Okay, the heart that thinks about planting the tree, that heart is very noble, that heart is bringing about all of these goods that are enumerated in all these paragraphs. Okay, so this was the poem, The Heart of the Tree. It's a very easy poem. You don't have to write much on this. Just be creative, make your answers, sound good. And if you have any problems, you can ask in the comment section below. The man who plants the tree, which consists of sap, leaf, and wood, benefits various people and places. Firstly, benefits his home or the planet Earth, understands its sense of civic duty, and also benefits the people in the neighborhood. The poet goes on to say that one who plants a tree holds in his palm all the growth of one's country. Thus, it is highlighted that by planting a tree, one is benefiting the nation. This helps in the nation's growth. Thus, one who plants a tree wishes prosperity for his country. Hence, the poem establishes the fact that planting a tree is not an ordinary act, but something extremely significant and important. And thus, he is kind of blessing the person who plants the trees. Okay, so planting trees is very important, and even all of you, if you get a chance to plant it, definitely buy a sapling and just plant in your house or somewhere else that you can, because planting trees is very important, especially in today's age. Okay, thank you so much for watching, guys, and if you have any questions about this poem, you can ask in the comment section below.